so much, everyone, for staying with us. Our eyes are on the security situation in the country. There are a lot, and if I say a lot, I mean a lot. There's so much noise about the way forward, state policing, more boots on the ground, and you hear the president that he made a declaration, and there are those who are now saying they are confused. Is it a state of emergency, or what exactly is the meaning of what the president declared? How does this affect the security situation in the country? There is an organization that has put together a report, the Fairness Center, being led by its chancellor, Mr. Osita Chidoka, who is a former Minister of Aviation, and it's live for us to look into what they came out with, the report, and what is proposing for Nigeria. Mr. Chidoka, it's a pleasure having you join us tonight. My pleasure. I appreciate it. Let's look at some of what you and your colleagues at the Fairness Center had put together. Interesting time, and it's also very, very instructive that your report is coming at a time a lot of Nigerians. Today, you saw NLC and some allied organization on the street today protesting about insecurity. Well, this happens, and you are releasing this report.
Yes, and I want to put a caveat. The numbers we got here are publicly available information. I believe the numbers can be better if we write to the police and check through their details. But these are publicly available numbers from Nigeria, from the countries we benchmarked Nigeria with. And we hope as the day go by, if the government listens, there's need to look at this. Nigeria's problem is not number of policemen. Nigeria's problem is funding. And the funding of the Nigerian police is not aligned whatsoever with the issues confronting us as a country. That's our basic thesis.
So you disagree with the position of the president?
Yes.
In the campaign of the APC, one of the promises is that there will be more the employment of more officials in the security agencies, and that those who will do the analysis to say what is the United Nations standard of police to citizen ratio, we fall behind.
So we always mistake that word, police ratio. So hardly anywhere in the world is there a central police like Nigeria. So when you see immigration, when you see customs, when you see road safety, when you see the border patrol, all of them are deemed as police officers, including the local government police in the US, in most European countries. Policing is a local issue. So all the people that work in any law enforcement is deemed as police. It is policing at the border, immigration. It is policing at the seaports. It's customs. It's policing. So when we use that number, we tend to talk about it strictly as police. FRS is police on the road. So the problem with Nigeria is, using the wrong terms. But I think the more important thing is let's dive into this.
Absolutely. So the premise of this is that you are saying we don't necessarily need more, because the president has now ordered, get more people employed, get more people recruited. But you disagree in this report, and we'll be finding out
what's not working. So Nigeria keeps asking the wrong questions. How many policemen do we need? Rather, the question should be asking, how well are the policemen we already have funded to operate? That's the question to ask. And if we go with that question, we just take a look at police overhead budget. So it's 94 billion in 2025. We have 14,362 police stations. This is a 2007 data from the police. And then if you average these 14,000 police facilities, we just take a rough average. It's not done to the size of the police stations. It means that each police station in Nigeria will get 552,000 naira per month. 552,000 naira per month.
And this is this is overhead.
Overhead. Because you see, what makes police work is overhead, not salary, not capital. It is the overhead, the amount of money we spend for fueling, for digital work, for communication, for utilities. That's what makes police work. So let's go to the next slide. So if you look at the police budget, what it means is that fuel and lubricant for the police is 158,000 naira a month for each police station. That is 8 liters a day. 8 liters a day for each police station. If you look at training, it's 158,000 naira a year for training the whole policemen In one police station, you have 458,000. So if you go by policeman, it's less than 1,000 naira to train one policeman.
So what you have done here, what you have done here is based on these calculations spread using that figure,
yes,
right?
This is the overhead.
Spread it across
non-salary OPEX.
Yeah,
yes.
The figure of the last figure that we know about the police station,
about the police,
and we come to this figure, and you are able to
break it down. So maintenance.
What would this money?
1.2. What would this money?
In Nigeria of
2 million per station per annum. What will it do for them? So when you call the police and they say, "Come and get us," there's armed robbery going on in our place, they can't come. They have 8 liters of fuel. They have 1.2 million to do maintenance. If you go and service a car today and change the tires, the money is gone in 1 month. There's no more money for maintenance. So one breakdown or one extended patrol can wipe out the station's annual allocation. Gone. If you change the engine of a Hilux, the money is gone. So
you are assuming, Mr.
that
Chidoka,
the money got to them.
That's on one hand. You are assuming that each of the police stations has a truck or a vehicle.
We're assuming that they have a vehicle.
But that's not the actual. That's not the reality.
That's not the reality. So the insight: Nigeria is not under-policed. Nigeria is underfunded at the point of action. At the point where the police is going to act. When you go to police station now, you buy your own stationaries to write the statement. You buy your own pen to write the statement. If you are detained by the police, you buy your own medicine, you buy your own food. Anything that you are doing with the police, you have to fund it because they are acutely underfunded. They do not have bullets because the cost, the money that was voted for capital, if you look at it, we're going to come there. You will see how the fight is going. So we are not under-policed, we are underfunded. But 2024 crime statistics, what we are facing? We are facing violent crimes in Nigeria. Kidnapping, 3,500 to 4,000 cases nationwide. And the hotspots, Kaduna, FCT, Delta, Rivers, Ogun. Conflict deaths, 8,000 to 10,000 fatalities. Sources, banditry, insurgency, communal violence. And where are the touch points? Plateau, Benue, Ebonyi, Taraba, communal violence. Banditry attack concentrated in Kaduna, Zamfara, Katsina, and Niger states. So this pattern, there's a pattern. Is rural, is forest-based, is mobile, and is highly lethal crimes. All our crimes are not happening in the urban centers. They're happening in the rural, forest-based areas.
Could it also be that these, if you look at most of the attacks and the violent criminal situation happen in mostly on this banditry, and the proximity of these areas to the forest where these attackers go, because you look at it.
Let's keep moving because we have quite some information to keep. So what the crime tells us is the nature of our crime. The threats require specialized capabilities, not mass recruitment. We need to have mobility to go into the forest. We need to have night vision goggles. We need to have helicopters going in there. We need intelligence. We need night operation. We need terrain advantage. And we need special units, not mass recruitment. Not people that will be trained in NYSC camps. So the police capital budget 2025, look at what we said happened in 24. But 43% of the police budget is for buildings and renovation, the capital vote. 11% is for barracks and offices. 34% is for generic vehicles, buying vehicles. ICT is only 8% of their budget. Meanwhile, the police capex is 68.6 million. So billion. So that's less than, go back, yes. Yes, that's where we are. So 6% is for training infrastructure, the police training schools. So you can see that there is an acute underfunding problem. And even with the funding, there is a misalignment of the funding. The funding is going to the wrong places. I mean, these are okay. We need all these things in the barracks, but we didn't see the funding for, for the equipment. We didn't see the funding for the large-scale operation that we require in the places where the crimes are being committed. So let's go to the next slide, and I will show you. Nigeria is still building police infrastructure for the 1990s while fighting 21st century security threats. Buildings do not chase bandits. So no matter how much you invest in building, mobility chases bandits. So let me tell you why we say that there is a funding problem. In 2025, Nigeria has 206 officers. This is a 2025 number I got. And the budget, annual police budget is less than 900 million. It's about 0.9 billion. So dollars. It's about $900 billion. So it means that the OPEX per officer is about $300. In Kenya, it's about 966 million, but the OPEX is about 1,200 to 1,500. In Colombia, it's about $3,000. In South Africa, it's about $6,500 per police officer. So if you look at the number of police officers, Nigeria have more. And then if you look at the budget, South Africa is budgeting $7.2 billion for policing. Nigeria is budgeting $900 million.
But you use the NPC, that's the Nigerian Police Force, the NPF rather,
yes.
Figure.
Yes.
But you had also adduced that the immigration, NSCDC, all of these are also some form of policing structure in the country.
Correct.
Right? Could we also put all of those together? I know those who believe that.
Yes, we can. But the organization, the structural organization of these forces, the coordination that is required for them to act as a unit needs to be done first before we can say that this budget is aligned to one goal.
But this particular slide is telling us that for operation-wise, what we have for every police officer to do his job is insufficient.
$300 a year compared to other countries. And this is publicly available information.
Yeah.
So when we go in, Nigeria spends in 1 year what South Africa spends in 1 month per police officer on operations. So we are greatly underspending on police. And people, when I say spending, it's not dashing them money. They need fuel to be able to go. They need vehicles.
They need
bullets.
They need intelligent
to wear the
operational.
armor. They need intelligence-led operation. So this is very under expenditure. So the full solution, and this is what the president is saying now, recruit more officers without fixing funding. You dilute the resources. You expand payroll without expanding operational expenses. And that does not improve outcomes.
The budget may not be as incremental, because what you just have is that you have the recurrent payroll with Jacob, but then operation-wise,
there's a problem in Nigeria. We have this thing of celebrating that we spend more money on capital than on recurrent. Truth is that recurrent is what makes societies run. It is the minus payroll. The operational expenses is what determines that you have fuel in the car. Your officers can go for training. They can buy uniform. They can buy armor. They can buy bullets. This is part of the challenge. We keep celebrating, oh, we spent more on capital. We should stop acquiring. We should make what we have work.
All right.
We must make them to work.
Give me a moment, please, because I know that you're a civil service person.
Yes.
You know how civil service operates. You've operated one of such organizations that could have served as a policing structure in Nigeria. And perhaps, for those who are listening tonight, you may disagree with Mr. Osita Chidoka, but does that take away the fact that we are underfunded, underfunding the police? Is the recruitment going to work? Let's listen, and for a moment, as a people, let's stop argument and let's listen and do the right thing. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll listen to the solution from Athena Center, as led by Osita Chidoka. We'll be right back, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the home stretch now. We're trying to look at solutions and the fixes to the issues of the gap in funding of the Nigerian police force in the face of insecurity in the country. I've been speaking with the Chancellor of the Athena Center and the former Minister of Aviation, Mr. Osita Chidoka. Thanks so much indeed for the work you and your colleagues have done. So looking at the solution.
Yes, let's go to the next slide. I think that we need to say no constitutional delay. Police remains federal. We're not talking about changing the constitution, but states co-fund the operations of the state, of the police. So, and this is facility-based funding. So let's take an example. Let's go forward. Let me give you an example. We will do CAPEX operate. Let's take this, okay. So we can take Kaduna or Enugu, any one of them. So Enugu State has 5.3 million population. 2025 budget is 971 billion. It has 173 police facilities, the 2007 baseline, and police officers 3,573. 2025 data we saw. And so we are proposing 16 billion naira spent by Enugu state government to upgrade police facilities and then also fund their operational expenses.
This is a proposition.
Year 2, it rises to about 20 billion because all the police stations are done in phases. The bulk of the police stations will be done in phase 2. But this is 1.7% of their budget. This is 2.1% of their budget. And in year 3, it comes down again to 1.4% of their budget. Now, the idea is that the OPEX per officer will now rise to about $1,940 with less than 3% of the budget of Enugu State spent in security. Because the security is for Enugu State people. It's not for the federal government. It's not for Abuja people. It's for people in Enugu. So once they do that, once we're able to do this, get the states to co-fund, and they will fund directly to their police stations. They will appropriate in their states. The money is not coming to the federal government. Because what the federal government is sending, that 3,000 that is supposed to come to a police station, quote and unquote, it doesn't quite come. But even at that, the states can do 1.something million on top of that, and we will get to the international benchmark.
And that takes and that calculation also,
we did it for Kaduna, for Enugu, and Oyo, just to show an example. And once we do that, next slide, affordability verdict. 2 to 6% of the budget of the state will be spent on this. And it's sustainable, steady state long-term commitment until we have state police in Nigeria, whenever we change our constitution. It is cheaper than prolonged insecurity. Let us have a joint funding of the Nigerian police force. And then, like we said, change the operational ethos so that all the other policing entities, law enforcement entities, come into being. Now, the final one is that we looked at Colombia, how they solved their problem of terrorists and of the FARC rebels and guerrilla groups. They formed a specialized force called the Jungle in Colombia, and they fought real hard. They go into the forest, they disrupt operations. So go to the next slide. Next slide. So these are people this is the lesson for Nigeria. We do not need to recruit thousands of general duty officers. That's not what we need now. We don't need to have police-based but military trained, sustained by ring-fenced operational funding, and build a small, elite, well-funded force built around air mobility, intelligence, and technology.
So we need to have a team focused on our forests.
On our forests. So that's
we already have something like that.
We call it National Forest and Rural Guards. This is a team that will disrupt networks, secure our corridors, hostage rescue, and support operations. They will be funded by the federal government. We will spend the kind of money the Syed Maktal is spending in Israel, the kind of training that the SAS in the UK or the Navy SEALs in the US. So it will be purely by merit from existing officers, from Army, Police, DSS, bring them together, train them very well, tough training, 4-5 months of tough training. By the time you come out of it, you make it, you are ready to go. And this is what will take out the people we have in our forest. So I said they will sit by the NSA's office with joint intelligence coordination with police, DSS, military, NIA, housed under the ONSA and led by a commandant, with joint coordination with these forces and dedicated budget line. So the design pillars, selection and training, volunteer-only intake with extreme screening, 4 to 5 months jungle and air mobile warfare course, air mobility, intelligence infusion, and ring-fence funding. These are the qualities that will make us fight the rebels in our bush. And why it beats more boots on the floor? Let's go back there. Force multiplier, 500 to 1,000 elite operators outperform 10,000 of underfunded general duty police. Clear command, precision operations, cost-effective.
We need to,
and final way forward, we need to fix police OPEX through federal and state co-funding model, upgrade infrastructure, police facilities in a phased approach, and establish the National Forest and Rural Guards under the ONSA with dedicated budget and elite manpower. Security is not about numbers, it is about capability, mobility, command, and funding. So once we do that, I think we'll be on
this document is available in the public domain.
Yes, we'll make it
available. And I think that this knowledge should also be extracted by the Nigerian government. Let's learn from it, and let's see what this report can give us as solution. But thank you so much, yourself and your colleagues at the Athena Center.
Thank you very much.
Osita Chidoka, thank you so much indeed for coming tonight. I appreciate it. Well, that's our offering for tonight. If this is a lesson for us, or either in the state, the local government level, or at the federal level, when you have a problem, you look for solution. And when this kind of solution comes, you take it and take a lesson from it. But thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Wakimale. God bless Nigeria.